A week ago, there were a bunch of European Yu-Gi-Oh! Community days, which was really exciting, and at one of them, I think the German one, they released a whole bunch of information about upcoming changes to the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. Now, this information is, like I said, a week old, and I know you've probably seen some other discussions about it, but I really wanted to talk about it, and I didn't want to give a knee-jerk reaction. I wanted to think about it more than just my initial sort of thoughts. But now that I've had a little bit of time to digest these changes, I want to give my opinion on them, and also sort of hear your guys' own opinions in the comment section below, so make sure to post those down there. Anyway, the first change that was announced was the official name of the what we've been calling the prismatic secret rares so far in main sets. These are now known as Starlight Rares, which is kind of cool, I guess. I think it is very important to have a real name for these cards. Prismatic Secret Rare is an entirely different rarity. It was especially funny because we got Prismatic Secret Rare cards in the Megatons during the same time that we were getting these Starlight Rares. Having two very different rarities both be called Prismatic Secret Rare at the exact same time is really confusing, and I'm glad that they finally gave this rarity a real name. Anyway, the big change, or the change that a lot of people are focusing on, is the next one that says, with Eternity Code, which is the next core set after Ignition Assault, regular rares, aka the cards with silver lettering and no other holographic foil on the card artwork, have been retired, which have been in the game since the very beginning. This says also in this article, similar to Speed Duel booster sets, you will no longer receive these in your booster packs. Now, it's been a while since I've opened a Speed Duel set, but I do remember that they didn't have rares, so I guess it makes sense. And then it says there are additional Super, Ultra, and Secret Rare cards in the sets that will be distributed flat instead. All cards will be evenly distributed, which means no short or underprinted foils in main sets for the foils, which is really cool. It continues on saying that Starlight Rares are going to bump from 4 copies to 5 copies, which is kind of interesting, specifically because previously the Starlight Rares there's been one of them for each rarity. So you have a rare that becomes a Starlight Rare, then you have a Super and an Ultra and a Secret Rare. So not only are they bumping it up to 5, but also they're removing rares. So I'm not really sure where the distribution of what rarities these Starlight Rare cards originally were are going to end up. Maybe like 3 Secret Rares are going to be Starlight Rares, maybe 2 Ultras and 2 Secrets. Who really knows? We'll have to wait and see. It would be even more interesting if they made a common card into a Starlight Rare, although I'm not sure if that will actually happen. And then finally it says rares are not gone indefinitely, but there are no current plans to bring them back, just the possibility to do so exists. It seems like rares might still exist in the legendary duelist sets, because those still do have rares. This announcement is only referring to main sets, so those are the 4 that we get per season, so I'm not really sure if those side sets like legendary duelist will still feature rares or not. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm a little bit surprised, I mean, I guess not, it's a pretty old article, but there's an article from back in 2012 that pretty much foreshadows this happening to core sets, and yet I haven't seen a lot of people discussing it, so I'm not sure if people just haven't read it or don't remember it, but I remembered it. It was the very first thing that I thought of when I read this announcement. So basically there's an article way back in the day, 2012, like I said, and this was the announcement of Astro Packs. Nowadays, if you play at an OTS store, you'll get OTS packs, which is basically what Astro Packs were, but with a different name. But what's interesting here is that the Astro Packs actually made a huge difference from previous versions of this sort of setup. We had tournament packs and champion packs and turbo packs, and then Astro Packs, which changed a lot. The main change is that they took out rare cards, base rare cards, just like these main sets, but what's funny is that we can read this paragraph that describes Konami's reasoning for doing so, and it sounds very similar to why they're removing rares right now. The context here, by the way, is that turbo packs, the thing that came right before Astro Packs, had commons. You got 2 commons per pack, and then you could pull either a rare, a super rare, an ultra rare, or an ultimate rare. So that's what we're sort of coming off of. And then Astro Packs have the exact same setup as OTS packs right now, and that there's ultimate rares and super rares, but no rares or ultras. Why did we take the normal rares out? They just didn't seem that exciting. If there are cards that we really want everyone to have, we will just make them common, and the foil cards are there as the exciting chase cards. Normal rares just didn't seem to have as much of a purpose in this set, so we just bumped all the rares to super rare and called it a day. Now, I do want to say here that obviously the tournament sort of experience part doesn't actually apply, because you can actually go out and buy core sets, but I do believe that the same philosophy that they were sort of going off of all this time ago, 8 years ago, is what they're thinking of right now as they're removing rares. Pulling a rare in a set or in a pack where every single pack is guaranteed at least 1 holographic card just feels kind of lackluster. It's been a while since people have been really excited about pulling a rare card, and sure, back in the day, you know, you pulled a super rare and that was a big deal because you weren't guaranteed that every single pack, but now that even core sets are guaranteeing sort of pulling a holographic card, there's not really a good reason to have rares. In that original announcement, they also declare that they're increasing the amount of supers, ultras, and secret rares in each set, which is pretty cool. So a lot of those rare cards that would have been competitively viable will now probably be like a super rare or an ultra rare. Now it might sound like Konami is just trying to mess up the secondary market because, oh no, what if they print a really good base rare as a super and ultra rare instead? Won't it be really expensive? But if there's anything I've learned over the past couple years of having the current set ratios for rarities, where you have 2 secret rares per box and 4 ultra rares and a whole bunch of super rares, it's that super rares and ultra rares rarely, sorry for the pun, rarely actually get expensive, even if they are very competitively viable. Even in the case of good secret rares, someone like Gizmek Orochi, which is played in a lot of top strategies and was like a staple card in every Orcus variant to last format, that card actually isn't that expensive. It's like $20, where back in the day when you only pulled 1 secret rare per box, it might have been $40 or $50, we really don't know. The rarity ratio changes overall have been really good for the secondary market of Yu-Gi-Oh! So to me, I'm not very worried about this increasing the price of cards that might have been rares in the past. If anything, cards that would have been rares are now going to be commons, which is pretty cool, but some of the better ones might get bumped to super rare or ultra rare right away without being too expensive, but at least being holographic. And I guess because someone's probably going to point it out, we have had a couple ultra rares that actually did hit pretty high prices. Dingirsu is by far like one of the most expensive ultra rares since we've had the rarity ratio changes. That card was really expensive. It was like $30 or $40 for an ultra rare, which is absolutely insane. And also the Thunder Dragon cards, those were pretty expensive as well. They're like $10 to $15, which adds up when you have to buy playsets. But generally speaking, if we're talking about just the average ultra rare, it doesn't reach those types of prices, even if it is competitively viable. That's what we've seen over the past couple of years. Under this new policy, the OTS pack might not be filled with so many cards that probably should have already been printed as holographics. For example, like the Orcus cards. Why were Harp and Skeleton printed as base rares when they ended up being so competitively viable? Well, under this new policy, Konami would be able to preemptively make them supers or ultra rares, which, while it wouldn't impact their overall price too much, it would make them holographic and open up spots in the OTS pack for older cards that need rarity upgrades. I think this will be a great change for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope I don't see too many negative comments about it. I really haven't so far. I think removing base rares, the rarity that no one's really excited to pull, is just going to be good for the game in general, especially in the long run. Another part of this announcement was about sneak peeks, and that basically Ignition Assault is the last sneak peek. It says these events have been discontinued. From Eternity Code onward, there will be a pre-release event in which you get better promo cards, more playable was the phraseology used. With the visit of the event, you get the right to purchase 1 box of the set. The rest of the event will be open dueling. Because I waited to do this discussion, we actually got more information about these upcoming new version of sneak peeks. So these are going to be called Core Booster Premieres, and this information was taken from a Yu-Gi-Oh! News TCG on Twitter, so shout out to those guys for posting this. I'll post the entire sort of screenshot there, but the main part that I like a lot, and I think a lot of people are going to be excited about, is that in addition to the 5 packs that people could normally buy for sneak peeks, duels will have the opportunity to purchase additional core boosters from the OTS through the premiere weekend while supplies last. You will have the ability to set limits as to how many additional boosters duels can purchase, so if you want only people to buy like 1 box or something, you can put that limit on there as an OTS store. Any unsold boosters must then be held by the OTS until the release date of the following Thursday. This is a really awesome change, and something that I like a lot. There was no worse feeling than driving to a sneak peek, playing in it, buying your 5 packs, playing the sealed format, and then as you're leaving, you look behind the counter and it's Sunday, so the last sneak peek day, and you see if they still have like 20 or 30 or 40 packs left over. That is a real shame, because even though they have those packs left over, if the store is following the rules, they can't sell those to you because it's just 5 packs per person. By giving duelists the opportunity to buy an entire box ahead of time, you are giving them so much more control. It just seems fantastic. Also, they talk about in here that the OTS store can sort of pick the format of sneak peeks that better meet the needs of their own player base. Putting more control on the individual stores is a great idea. They know their players best, so that's going to be a really great change going forward. Besides the rare change and the sneak peek change, there are a few other announcements in that original post that I want to go over real quick before I end the video. First up, Ignition Assault will have the last special edition, and then Eternity Code will switch to a new product. It says that more more information will come on this. We don't know a lot. I will say, if you haven't been playing the game very long, that special editions have changed quite a bit over the years. We've had all sorts of weird sort of ratios of packs. It used to be like 2 of the pack that you were trying to get and 1 of an older set. The promo cards themselves have changed a lot over the years. We had one point where we had deluxe editions for a couple sets. That was a time when we didn't have special editions as well. So this isn't the first time that Konami has gotten rid of this product. I will say the timing for this is perfect because the last few special editions have been really lackluster. The main problem is that the last couple core sets have not had a lot of high valued cards in them besides the Starlight Rares, which were formerly known as Prismatic Secret Rares, and these special editions, because they were unlimited edition packs, didn't actually have a chance of pulling those Starlight Rares. This meant that if you were buying a set like Rising Rampage or Chaos Impact, you basically had no way to make your money back on these packs. Sure, the promo cards are pretty cool, especially the preview cards. I like that a lot, but by having a few sort of overall weak sets in a row as far as value goes, besides the chance of pulling a Starlight Rare and then taking those Starlight Rares out of the set, you can't really expect that many people to be excited about special editions, so I think it's a change for the better. Next up, Rush Duels, the thing that is going to premiere in the next Yu-Gi-Oh series of anime, are not going to be introduced to the TCG and will remain Japan exclusive for a little while. Apparently this is going to be like their version of speed dueling, even though the rules are pretty significantly different, but the same idea of just having an alternative format for people that don't want to play the regular rules. I will say that this is probably for the best for a couple reasons. I'll talk about this for a second here, because when these were first announced, I was thinking, okay, I can't imagine a store that has limited shelf space sort of stocking Rush Duels and Speed Duels and the regular standard Yu-Gi-Oh cards. For customers, this makes it less confusing. You know, if you don't know a lot about Yu-Gi-Oh and you're trying to buy your first starter deck and you go to a store and they have Rush Duel starter decks and Speed Duel starter decks and starter decks that don't say either of those things, but they all say Yu-Gi-Oh, you might not know what you're buying or what you should buy to try to play whatever format you're interested in. The other problem is that local OTS stores sometimes just end up sitting with all this speed dueling product, you know, collecting dust on their shelves. That's a real shame because local OTS stores, you know, they have a lot of overhead costs. So sort of making this format that, of course, they want to buy the newest Yu-Gi-Oh sets, but that people might not be interested in is a real disappointment for those locals. Maybe it makes them not want to buy as much Yu-Gi-Oh product in general, which makes these standard format players really suffer. So if you also add Rush Duels on top of that, you know, they might not be willing to buy so much product that they have Rush Duels and Speed Duels and the regular format all on their shelves. Maybe you have a community that's really interested in all the different types of ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, maybe they love Speed Duels, maybe they really wanted Rush Duels in the regular format as well, but I've been to enough locals where they have so many extra boxes of speed dueling product that I think in general locals would be very hesitant to order Rush Dueling as well. And then I'll also say the other problem with introducing Rush Duels into the TCG but getting rid of Speed Duels, like that's one possible outcome. You know, they add Rush Duels, they get rid of Speed Duels, is that it really lowers customer confidence in whatever product they're buying. Speed Duels have not been around for too long, so all these people that have invested this money to play that format and the time to play that format, they're probably not going to be very excited if you just cut all of those cards away and say, okay, actually, let's just switch to Rush Duels now. If you're someone who's a huge Speed Duel player and has played in a lot of events and bought a lot of cards for that format, I can't really imagine you being super excited to immediately jump ship to Rush Duels if they were introduced to the TCG and replace Speed Dueling. I think for now, it makes a lot of sense to not introduce Rush Duels into the TCG, both in forms of replacing Speed Duels or running alongside them. I think that we just don't need that many different formats, and I think that keeping up customer confidence in alternative formats is really important for the future. Anyway though, if you guys want to read the initial announcement article or that article about the Astro Pack that we talked about at the beginning of the video, I'll link those in the description below so you guys can go read them for yourself. I'll see you later though. Thank you so much for watching today's discussion video. Goodbye.